Thank you very much, our chairpersons, our speakers, and our dear audience for such a great session. There's this announcement. If anyone wants any tea or coffee, we have an arrangement at the fourth floor. You can have access to that. Now, starting with the second session. The second session is on Perfusionist session for Ecmo. I would like to welcome Dr. Riyan Shetty, Dr. Sunil Kiran, and Dr. Sanveer Singh to please come forward and have the seats.
More in I mean, Ecmo for perfusionists, but I'm sure it will help the nurses also gathered here. Welcome to all. Very good morning. I'm Dr. Riyan and Dr. Sunil Karan and our other co. So the first topic is going to be on can I take ECLS or ECMO as a career? I think it's with the perfusionist perspective. So that will be by Dr. Srishti Jain, who's an associate professor and additional director of Ecmo Center in the Department of Critical Care MG MCH Jaipur. Srishti is an anesthetist by background. Almost, okay, sorry, okay. Almost by background, she's trained in India, mostly in Mumbai, and then had her higher training in UK, and now settled down in Jaipur. Over to you, Dr.
Thank you so much, sir, for
And
the
I'm
kind
very sorry,
introduction.
very sorry.
It's absolutely all right. So this is what we are going to talk today actually, that how we can come from different streams of career and we can choose ECLS or for that matter, whatever we want and at whatever stage of life, we can choose our career. So that's what we are going to talk today. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a pulmonologist and then I chose intensive care for my future career. And I got trained in 1920 and 1919 in Ecmo when I was working in Within Shaw. And all of a sudden, the pandemic had hit at that time. And that was a wonderful opportunity of seeing 18 to 20 patients on Ecmo at the same time. It was overwhelming, but I think it was a lifetime of an experience. And learning never stops, it always continues with your journey. So, we have to be a student for all our lifetime. तो लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड कि करियर होता क्या है ना हम सब जॉब करना चाहते हैं एक अच्छा फ्यूचर चाहते हैं बट देन वी नीड टू नो व्हाट डू वी मीन बाय करियर सो करियर इज अ जॉब और एन ऑक्यूपेशन दैट इज अंडरटेकिंग फॉर अ मेजर पीरियड ऑफ योर लाइफ and it has opportunities for training, progress, advancements, and promotions. It's like a vocation, right? It can be medicine, it can be teaching, or whatever you want. But it is something which drives you every morning to wake up without an alarm. Okay? So we need to understand that how we can have clarity about a career. So career किसी के pressure या influence में बनाकर ना career नहीं बनता है. कि पापा मम्मी ने बोला we have to become a perfusionist and we become a perfusionist. Or our seniors told, or everyone in our town is doing a perfusionist career and we choose that career. So that is not what a career is. Sometimes we do need proper counseling and internships in that center to understand whether it will help me to drive my life or not. Right? So like no career, you have to have awareness about it, you have to know your strengths, you have to seek help from expert, you need support, you need to do your research, internship, and finally you take job in your career. You know? So that's the difference between job and a career. So job is basically it's like an employment. You take up a job, you go there for salary, you wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning, go with your dabba, come back at 5 o'clock in the evening, and in the end you regret. मजा नहीं आ रहा है, or I'm not happy, or I will leave this job soon, I'm not getting paid enough. You know, that drive is lacking, right? So career is something for which you are able to work even 2 years. Okay, I'm not gonna get a salary. I will go as an observer. I will go to NHS. I will go to America. Or I will do a fellowship in my interest of career at a certain place. Or अगर पूरे time के लिए I'm not earning, that's absolutely fine because I want to develop my career at the best center of the world, not just in India. So that is about career. It's a long-term pursuit. You have to find your ikigai career. So ikigai is a Japanese proverb which means that you do something that satisfies your passion, your mission, your profession, your vocation, and what you love. And I keep gifting this book to people. Devlalji would remember I've gifted this book to him when I visited Medica for an observership very recently. And we keep doing this, taking our team members to different heavy volume ECMO centers across country so that they get to know how things are getting developed in India. So career as a perfusionist in India. So what do a perfusionist do? Right? You take care of the heart lung machine. That's what you know of as a perfusionist, and you work in a cardiac OT in a cardiac center. Right? That is what we have known of a role of a perfusionist till now. Right? But you can get a lot of jobs in various centers in India. Right? Your employment, you will have great opportunities. You can work with individual cardiac surgeons or government-run hospitals or nursing homes or teaching centers, military hospitals. So various possibilities of jobs are open for you. And you can also take up ECMO as your career in a center which is having heavy volume of ECMO, right? But you need certain skills to choose your career as a ECMO perfusionist. You need to understand the respiratory and circulatory systems. You need to learn how to work in stressful situations. ECMO patient would not tell you and come कि सर हम 5 बजे आएंगे मतलब respiratory failure होगा. So you need to be on your toes. You need to have that amount of passion for working for ECMO, and you need to keep yourself updated. As I said, learning will never end. We all have to be a student for our life. So anyone can be an ECMO specialist. For doctors, we can choose ECMO careers after intensive care or cardiac anesthesia or cardiology or CTVS surgery or respiratory physician. For perfusionists, a cardiac OT perfusionist or a clinical cardiac perfusionist can grow their career in ECMO. Now the best next question comes. Okay, how do I get trained for ECMO in India? What are the opportunities? Where I can go and learn? This is a picture of the Ecmo center from Videnshaw where I was working, and we took our patient who was in biovan. It's a bioventricular assist device in Sanghi. So this is where the countries have gone abroad, right? People on bioventricular devices going out in the sun and sitting. And I know this patient. I was working there at that time. So yes, an interesting journey has unfolded. Now talking about the job opportunities for ECMO. Yes, we do agree. India में अभी ECMO is not that developed that you can take it as your core specialty or only specialty. It is still not the dal chawal rice thali. You will develop a career of an ECMO over and above your cardiac perfusionist skills. You need to be a very good cardiac OT perfusionist, and then you can develop and train yourself in ECMO to develop the cream of the cake. Salary and employability of ECMO perfusionists. So what I can tell you for guarantee, if you develop your ECMO skills, if you get trained, ECMO will definitely give you an edge over the non-ECMO specialists, right? It will give you more thrill and adrenaline. It will give you a better salary that I can vouch, and you will be performing a dual role of a cardiac perfusionist and ECMO. So if ECMO patients are there, you're looking after the ECMO unit. It's a teamwork after all. And if the patients are not there in ECMO, your ECMO unit is vacant, you're working in your cardiac OT and you're keeping up with your skills for longer time. Alright? And people ask me, ma'am, salary nahi बढ़ रही है. I always keep on telling them, look, your salary will not make you rich. You need to learn how to invest. So I take up a lot of trainings for my ICU doctors and nurses about how to invest and how to live peacefully and not to crib about salary and to have their life goals clarified before they reach retirement. So you can obtain ECMO certification in India as well. We are very lucky. We have pioneers of ECMO in our country, Dr. Pranay Ojha, Dr. Venkat Goyal. And in Mumbai, we started with the Riddhi Vinayak Hospital, and they have developed the ECMO fellowship, ASOI fellowship. And I have provided the links in my presentation, and if any one of you wants, I'm more than happy to give you the link of my presentation. We have also certified courses in India. Dr. Munish Chauhan, FMRI Gurgaon, they are conducting these courses. You can go and learn ECMO there. They have their 1 week course and more training programs are developed there. Initially, in the beginning of your ECMO career, you need to work in high volume ECMO centers. I think that is very very important. हम कितनी भी थ्योरी पढ़ लें, but तकनी करने का गैप तभी फिर होता है when we actually go and work in high volume ECMO centers. Alright? So in University of Scotland in Aberdeen, they have the ECMO course. If some of you are interested in going abroad, which I think one should do in their lifetime once, to go abroad and see how the top-notch ECMO centers across the world are working. And also themselves, they have their online certification course about which you can go online and you can read. These are the courses which are provided by ELSO. So they have their adult ECMO calibration workshop, they have simulation courses, and they have neonatal and pediatric ECMO courses. So you can just go through their website and you can explore that what courses would you like to pursue. This is another course online by Americans, and this is an ecmocourse.com, and you can join their courses as well. There is a lot of stuff on YouTube as well. I always say Google is the new God, और भगवान मिले ना मिले Google पे जो चाहोगे वो सब मिल जाता है. So if you really want to learn, YouTube is a very good resource. Please go on YouTube. There is a lot of free stuff. Open online medical education is there, and you can keep on enhancing your knowledge. But again, you need to work in high volume ECMO centers to understand what language we are talking initially. You can also go abroad. This is my photo when I was working there in Within Ecmo Center, and this is the photo of when they gave me a farewell. So beautiful memories I've carried of working in high volume ECMO centers, especially during the first pandemic of the ECMO. But NHS provides good opportunity, and I always tell everyone develop good English skills. Why? Because it helps you to connect to the world. You can go in English speaking countries and work there and learn there. So I think English is one thing which stops some of the people, especially in North India. There is a resistance for English, but I really feel that this is one skill, out of your curriculum, which you really need to acquire over a period of time. ECMO is teamwork. You cannot work alone. You have to work with nurses, with cardiac OT people, with surgeons, with intensivists. It's a big, 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 big teamwork. So you need to develop the responsibility of a team leader. Everyone is a leader. You all have to lead without a title. You don't have to wait for instructions. Perfusionists, they have to have very good leaders. The Chakde leader of the Shah Rukh Khan, which we saw in this movie. So take time to take leadership coaching, focus on your team and coordinate team logistics, and develop very good communication skills so that you don't offend someone, and everyone is more than happy to work along with you. Something is changing. Sorry. So we have all spoken about the goods of ECMO, right? Now there are certain challenges of ECMO also in our country. First of all, I think the most important challenge is the cost of the therapy. Most of the equipments and the consumables, and they are not developed in India. Most of them are imported from abroad. And we have fewer patients to go for ECMO because cost is a concern. There is a lack of knowledge. There is a lack of faith that will my patients actually get 100% better on ECMO? These kinds of questions come. Some ECMO के लिए तैयार है, he will pay, but are you sure he will be safe? And no one can guarantee that. So these are the little bit of challenges which we face in our country. There is a lack of PPA coverage by the private and the government insurance schemes. The learning curve for ECMO is very slow. आप सोचो कि एक साल में I will become an ECMO expert, so that doesn't happen. It happens over a period of time. Knowledge also compounds over a period of time. You have to work and learn your way. Major institutional commitments are needed because it's a big investment initially in terms of cost and employees and equipment. And ECMO referral networking is still in a nascent stage in India, right? If you're working in a center and that city is having 6, 7 so-called ECMO centers, the referrals wouldn't be that quick. So all these things are developing. We all have to be positive and hopeful. If you look back in India in 1947, and we look back in 2023, I think a lot have changed. It's very easy to complain, but it requires a big kind of heart to stand. Okay, I am the change. बदलाव हमसे है, right? The AU bank tagline. बदलाव हमसे है. We all need to stand and be a part of this ECMO development journey, right? This is a very nice article by Dr. Sunil Kubani about challenges of ECMO in India, and gives a lot of insight that where are we and how do we, imagine the future of ECMO in India, and which I think looks very beautiful. Yes, this is one of the again problem which I wanted to highlight, that private insurance loopholes are there, and which keep out of pocket expenses. And in COVID times, we all saw that there were big bills. But I think over a period of time, the insurance schemes and the knowledge about insurances, about ECMO, I think all will develop in future, and we will find ways that insurance schemes will help our patients. So I just want to share a little journey that how I started my ECMO career along with intensive care. So I happened to work in a very high volume ECMO center during the pandemic in Manchester Royal infirmary. And one of my colleagues, Dr. Monalis, are sitting here with me, and it was a great opportunity to meet her again after 2.5 years. This is our Ecmo unit in Jaipur. We are the largest Ecmo unit in the state of Rajasthan. We are a six-bedded Ecmo center. And during the pandemic, we feel glad that we were able to serve to the maximum capacity to what we could during the pandemic. And we all had some sad stories, some success stories to share. This is one of our patients who presented with the self overdose, and then he got better and he got discharged. And I think Ludhiana DMC Ludhiana is the pioneer center to give us the insight about the role of ECMO in aluminum phosphide poisoning. So I'm very glad that I'm today standing here in this center. And with the development of the Ecmo Center, you all need to learn your marketing skills as well. We have a perfusionist Bhupendra sitting here. He goes with me to different parts of Rajasthan where we teach people, train people, and bring the insight about what is Ecmo and how Ecmo can help a dying patient. So we conduct trainings and teachings in our institute. Last year we held an ECMO CRT workshop. This is our ECMO center. We are really thankful to everyone across India, Dr. Arpan Chakrabarti, his team, Dr. Dipanjan, Dr. Munish Chauhan. They all have helped us a lot during our journey. And we are developing ECMO awareness. This is, I always show this picture to all, that this is our hospital lobby. And it is outside the waiting area. You can see that, people's bags are kept there. So now we are developing this kind of organic marketing skills. Okay, in Hindi, what is ECMO? ECMO किस पर जरूरी है? Everything is written in Hindi, and we go to different areas of Rajasthan along with our perfusionist teams, and we create awareness about ECMO. And let me tell you, perfusionists are the core heroes of the ECMO unit. So please feel proud if you are working in any of the high volume ECMO centers. And we are doing, we are creating awareness on social medias like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all. And just to conclude, what is the bottom line of my presentation? Choose whatever career you want. But don't think that I will stop studying and 2 years done and things will be done, right? You have to explore your options, you have to choose wisely, you have to plan where you want to go, and you have to be competitive for your life. Your career never ends. And better to be the head of the cat than to be the tail of the lion, or to be the head of the dog than to be the tail of the lion. What does that mean? It means if you think I will permanently work in US, I'll not work in India, यहाँ पर कुछ develop नहीं है, nothing is there. No, I don't want to work in India. I just want to leave my country and work in Canada, UK, US, wherever. So let me tell you guys, be a part of the stories of India's development, right? The secret to success is to start from scratch and to keep on scratching. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Any questions in the audience? Yeah. Okay.
The questions in the end.
Um, I'd like to now call our next speaker, Dr. Adi Bajorli Alavi. He's not a new person visiting India. He's been here many times. He had the ECMO services in Shahid Rawasani Hospital and is a lead ECMO physician in the country of Iran. Extensive experience, numerous publications, a very sort of colorful CV. We will be talking on mechanical complications I encountered during ECMO. Dr. Ravi, the next 15 minutes for you. Thank you.
For very kindly introducing me. I'm speaking about the mechanical complications which was encountered during the ECMO. My name is Andy. Actually, we divided the mechanical complication on the ECMO to two main subjects, major subjects. First is a common and manageable, and the second is the catastrophic. As you see at this slide, there is a very narrow distance between two types of this complication. If we not consider the common and manageable, simply change to the catastrophic accident in the ECMO. Therefore, always keep your conscience and keep your sight on your ECMO and your patient during the procedure. For better understanding, I will summarize some common and manageable complications for VA ECMO, such as surgical site bleeding. It's a common and it's completely simple. You can cover it. And if you don't look at it, maybe you lost a lot of patient blood during the site. Therefore, go to the catastrophe. Cannulation site bleeding, coagulation rearrangement, distal vessel ischemia, and cardiac LV distension, inadequate flow, and Nordstrand syndrome in a VA very common, and it can come some problem in the brain or the coronary. And some factors that always every of us that working with the Ecmo know that the Ecmo couldn't capture the 100% of cardiac output. Therefore, LV is failing, and you going to the LV distension. Distension results myocardial capillary and then myocardial ischemia, and occurred in the 20 to 50 to 20% of VA Ecmo. It's simply treatment, and we can use of the elbow decompression, surgical drain, using of impella or intra-aortic balloon pump for covering this problem. And in a V, what is the common is correlation site bleeding again, circuits clotting, and recirculation, which is very common and needed your very careful care of your patient. At this table, I categorized five main subjects above: circuit failure, equipment failure, clogging, auto failure, and air embolism as a main subject that we review. Other way at the next slide. First of all, the very catastrophic happening raceway rupture that mostly happen in the roller pump if you use in the many times ago or sometimes nowadays. And tubing maybe goes under the wheel or sometimes kinking. They will have faced with the racer rupture. What we can do in the management of such a catastrophic happening in our patients is disconnect patient by clamping, stop the machine, maximum ventilation and hemodynamic support you should do, immediately changing the rupture segment of or total circuits you needed. How we can prevent of this disaster? For roller pump checking occlusion pressure or checking roller pump area free of particles, like sometimes the broken glasses goes inside the roller pump side and maybe even a rupture in your system. And in general, it's a comment for it's a notice that you should keep the ventilator and inotropic agent available at bedside because you don't know what happened in the next minute for your patient. Therefore, don't keep away the ventilator or keep away the inotropic agents from your patient. Always keep it with the bedside for cover better your patient in the catastrophic happen. The checklist for coverage these things is very common in all the disasters. That is extreme section of racewear tubing or such things available in your system connector, like 4 sizes and 3 pieces inside your ICU or at the bedside of your patient. Extreme seizures, Tygan, and 4 tubing clamp always what should be available. 3 gloves, pads, and disinfection. Okay. The second catastrophic is circuit separation that most common during the transportation of the patient on ECMO. Yesterday we doing many things in this subject in the workshop. Tubing goes again under the wheel or the kings cause the something. Management is disconnection the patient very quickly by the clamping, stop machine, maximum ventilation, and immediately reconnect the circuits. Always keeping it, again, always keep the ventilator in the side of your patient and keep the machine and the patient when you wanted to transport your patient on a same bed because prevent of the disconnection. When the machine is on a trolley, patient on a bed, and you wanted to transport the patient from side to side, from ward to ward, it's very common to happen this disconnection. Therefore, keep all the things on the bed. Therefore, you usually move when your patient sleep. Checklist as before. And again, accidental decannulation. It is uncommon complication and usually preventable. And if it happened, you lost a lot of blood of your patient, and disaster happened, depend on the blood that you lost during this accident. The second column is equipment failure. Most of the common is power failure. The power failure is electricity failure is Ecmo machine mostly having a battery backup for 40 minutes to 2 hours. It depends on the machine that you use. And if the fail, you can use of the hand crank if your system does have, or maybe some systems have extra machines. While use of the hand crank, you should consider someone should support, someone to watch on the flow, RPM, mean arterial pressure, SpO2 and SCO2 as a manager. And if your machine is about a medals, you can back up home, and otherwise they have the hand crank. Prevention, check the batteries charge every day in your ICU with the Perfusionist 13, and keep alternating source electricity supply like an inverter, UPS, or generator in your ward as possible. Other one is pump failure. That pump failure causes of pump failure is clog at the head pump, failure on the bearing inside the pump, and excessive heat generated with some kind of the head pump which we have produced uh, again some days ago. It's out of the products nowadays. And the diagnosis clots can be observable in the head pump. You can observe it with the light and with the look at it. Increase the sound happen when the bearing is failure. You should be very sensitive to the sound of the blood, the head pump of your machine. Hematuria, hemolysis can be excessive heat when you use of some kind of head pump which produce many heat, and managing it, changing the head pump sometimes needs the entire the circuits too. You can, when you want to manage the pump, head pump changing, you should have the appropriate pump size, and you can appropriate tubing when you need to changing here the pump with the syringe, and you know it's very common for the perfusionist to changing it. Let the highest position and fueling the solid inlet to get out the air, and then connected again to the part. You can see at this place we use up the double clamp in the X side and remove the air by the solid. And then sometimes you need it at this position to change the entire the circuits, and if you wanted to change the entire the circuits, you need 4 trained people for this procedure. One person should stop and start the pump. Someone carry the patient as a ventilator and inotropic. Someone change the venous line, and someone help to the area by the pushing the solid inside the tubing and the connection. Therefore, 4 trained people is needed for covering such a disaster in your patient. Here's the airing, and you should one sequence the airing as the same we do yesterday here. We're airing all the circuits and then connected to the new pump and the new system. Oxygenator failure is another equipment failure in catastrophic groups. That incidence is 90 to 4%, and clotting in oxygenator 11.4%. The causes of this problem is sometimes like a pulmonary edema which happen in the patients. We will have exactly in the membrane, plasma leakage, PQ mismatch, embolism, and atelectasis. Diagnosis is considered with, as you know, monitoring the delta pressure pressure before membrane and after, and monitoring PCO2 and PCO2 level in the patients for understanding what such a problem in our membrane. Pulmonary edema, how to manage it with below 15 cc per minute for 10 to 50 seconds to remove this problem, or changing the oxygenator according to the protocol. You can see here the sign of the hole which come out of the oxygenator. This is a table that shows you what happened in the delta P pressure and the PCO2 in several type of problem in your membrane. Heat exchanger failure is another one. Mostly happen when you have the extra heat exchanger out of the membrane happened before, and nowadays we can see very rarely such a problem. And hemolysis in equipment failure is the last one. Its appearance that free hemoglobin in the blood plasma in concentration exceeded than 50 milligram in deciliter. Excessive negative pressure generated by the pump causes this damage to the hemoglobin. Intermediate venous line chattering that my colleague showed you in the slide before, high shear stress is a cause, and hemolysis mostly very more common when you use of the roller pump rather than centrifugal pumps for your patients. Diagnosis need to hemolysis workup, check the Ecmo console, circuit, chattering in circuit, and you should treat the cause when this happens. Clotting is another case in your catastrophic system, LV clotting thrombosis. LV distension causes that the blood stop on the LV, and coagulopathy is also. Echo diagnosis help that you understand this problem. Coagulopathy and non-adequate heparinization, line top, low flow timing is running your Ecmo is a cause of something in your system. Oxygenator clotting is happen also when the clot goes on the oxygenators. Long time low flow is a cause of something. Observing the oxygenators and something that can help you. Pump clotting, as I said before, is obviously can recognize and could cover it. Blood cannula is another incidence with 9.7 incidence we have mostly in the artery cannula is happen, and big thrombos occluded the cannula, and secondary host to the non-adequate heparinizations happen. Suddenly you see stop the flow, machine RPM is running, but you can't have any flow, and you should understand where is the location of the cloud. You can open the breach and do the recirculation, and they understand that the cloud above the breach is happening. This is some picture of it. The one of the worst failure that happened unrecognized O2 disconnection that mostly happen when you cover your patient with the sheets and you couldn't see the color of the venous or arterial lines, and you can understand such things happen. This simply happened. Be careful about it. It's caused the death to the patient, and this is a very dramatically catastrophic event. Okay, empty the tank, a venous in the lymph. Okay, I will finish. We can air embolism in our systems, and we should cover it. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for. We have three places that we have the embolism in the venous line, in the pump, and in the arterial that we could cover it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Alavi.
So sorry for
Excellent detailed presentation. We'll have the questions at the end of the session.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
He has 20 years plus experience in cardiac surgery and is probably looked after more than 300 ECMO cases. He's also the ECMO coordinator in and the perfusionist in Medica Super Specialty Hospital, Kolkata. During the height of the COVID pandemic, I believe there were almost more than 40 patients on ECMO at one time. They did great work. He is going to start the next session. Over to you.
And respected organizing committee and all our senior people are here, lot of senior people. Thank you and committee to giving me the opportunity to speak on this paper. First of all, last 2 3 days we are learning how to identify the problem, and now we have think of how to handle the problem. In our institute, we have started our journey in 2014, and we have augmented this situation slowly. During COVID, we got the opportunity to augment some more cases and got the opportunity to some more complexity we can share in this forum. I will concentrate not too many things. We have identified how to change the circuit. Major component is oximeter and blood count. It is already discussed too many three times already. We are observing the oximeter, plotting the oximeter, and delta pressure has rise. Where now the question is, we change the whole circuit or component. That is the debate. If we try to change the component, we have to prime like that, or in other options, we have to prime the whole circuit. So, if will allow me for in other aspect, I definitely go for change the whole circuit. Why? It is a less time consumable. Once the circuit is prepared for patient point of view, it is a less time consuming, less expertise is required. We have to just change the discard the two components, and it is in the control field. If we leave the circuit in only oscillator, it will be three space. In open space, we have to work, and probability of infection will be more as the patient area is more get less infected, as it is always taking care as near to the patient, and the oxygenator and the circuit is in the outside of the patient's bed area, and it may take some more infected component to the circuit that may make disaster in future. Some more it is when we are changing the oxygenator in the early stage within 6 hours. For any disaster, we have forget to hypnotize the patient, or patient having more coagulopathy. We have got the patient within our patient oxygenator got plotted, because during cannulation we have cannulated the jugular nicely, but femoral cannula we took so many times, no, just reverse. We have cannulated the femoral nicely, and jugular taken too many times, and it was some more clot in the femoral cannula. We forget to make it out, which suddenly passed through in presence of our eyes, but we could not stop it. It gone to the oxidator, and it propagate, and we have to change the oxidator within hour only. So so that time that gives I giving the chance to say, please change the component. Do not hold the circuit. But if it is a later, we have identified the oscillator in after 14 days or 15 days, maybe 1 month later. If we just identify the oscillator is not working properly, we changing the oscillator, and if taking time, whatever expert you are applying, it will at least 15 to 20 seconds you have to interrupt the circuit, sometimes more than that. If it is not so many experts, we cannot accumulate. Though we have centered, lot of people are experts, but it is maybe in the midnight, so we cannot accommodate all the expert in the night time. Somehow we have managed the change the oscillator. It takes 2 3 minutes interruption of the flow. During interruption, we have not identified the pump situation. By the time we have landed up to pump is again not working properly, we have to change the blood pump also. So instead of changing one component, again we have to change the other component also and requires another expertise, accumulation, and finally we have to propagate. We have changed the whole circuit. And one more component is if we change the only oxygenator availability separately is not smooth in the industry. Like few industry are supplying only oscillator, few industry only supplying blood pump. All the industry are not separately sending, providing the oscillator or blood pump smoothly, because separately, the requirement of oscillator and block pump is less in our industry. As the Ecmo is service is very less in the, though we are discussing about Ecmo, very few centers are providing in both service and very less number of service. So, industry is also struggling to provide separate component for each center, and they are not keeping the separate component in the in each state also. So if you will, and though if you will arranging separate component, it may not using within time. We are explaining the component, so separate component is accumulation is also another struggle. So it's better go for whole circuit. Another option, urine color is bad, pre-pump pressure is rising, and some other small component pump is not working properly. We have to change the pump. We have to find the pump in this way, or if we are stuck because of machinery. Sometimes we will, when we are changing from machinery fault. One day we have called the rotor flow is not working suddenly, but we change to other centrimet machine. That time is circuit change or component change is a really debate. It's a cost effective. Then it go to the cash side, not my side. But if the whole thing is financially is allowed, I will prefer whole circuit. I will change with the component. If we finalize, so circuit change, there is a two scenario time when we are changing, where we are changing. It is in road or in other institute, or financial issue, less connection. If we change the whole circuit, less connection is required. If we change separate component, every component we have to insert some more connector, but we are we are not habituated to put more connector. It will make more stresses and more problem in the future. Coated tubing is not readily separately available in the market. I am not getting it. Somebody is getting that is. So coated tubing is another issue. Easy handling, mechanical, less manpower. If you will change the whole circuit, it requires less manpower, and we have to counsel several times. One first we will change the component. For one component we have to counsel to the patient. Again after some time we will tell the relatives, I have the second component is not working. So patient relative will be in question our efficiency. Every time he is telling this component is not working, other component is not working. And if you will think of clinically, infection probability will rise, anticoagulation probability will rise, uh, cytokine, bilirubin, LPs will be high, and and hemolysis point also already we have discussed. And development of the staff, this component change and circuit change, we cannot always in the real time situation, it will be temperament of the staff will be not easy. Whatever drill we are doing during in front of the patient, like whatever speed in the of the forum, when we are standing in the forum, our temperament will be less than the real situation. So like that, whatever what we will do when patient in our front, our temperament will be not equal what was in the water drill situation. This is the teamwork why we are showing. So team is important. The whole team should be aware that what we want to do, when we want to do, why that everybody should aware and these things will be easy. Thank you.
Thank you, Devlan.
I will now introduce the next speaker, Dr. Rakesh, who will be talking for component change. Dr. Rakesh has a lot of publications under him and especially interest into thoracic organ transplant, hemodynamic anesthesia, hemodynamic monitoring, and mechanical circulation device. So, Dr. Rakesh, 10 to 12 minutes for you, and then we'll have a rebuttal by the other speakers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, panelists. So, interesting topic distribution, right? A perfusionist was given a topic of changing the circuit, a doctor has given a topic of changing the components. I think it was done deliberately by the management, when kids are and all those guys. So, being a doctor, I always prefer go for a circuit change. Come on, why do you want to change a circuit? I can change the offset at the same time, the same complications, right? So, let us see at the end of this session how are reviews on that. So it's a debate. I don't have any conflict of interest. Neither to a machine, not to any profession, nothing like that. So we all know the basic components which can be changed in a circuit. So I'm not going into detail of that. Everyone should be aware by this time. The pumps, connectors, the oxygenators, tubings, and cannulas. So any problem of all these things warrants a change in either component or a change in the circuit, right? Where it might be a pump failure, or it might be a clot in a pump, or it may be if you have more connectors, especially if you have Y connectors, the chance of clotting will be more in the Y connectors. And then the oxygenator, yes, this is the most common indication of changing the oxygenator or a circuit. If you have a clots, goes to an oxygenator failure, and goes some leaks in the oxygenator. Sometimes the plasma leak do happen. In those situations, you need to change. And then tubings. If there is a sudden disconnection of all the tubings, or there is a clot in a something like the cannula or something like that, also warrants to changes, starting from cannulas. So these are the various parts. Let us see the actual scientific incidence of thrombosis in Ecmo circuits. If you compare between VB and VA, which one has got the highest chance of thrombosis in the circuit I am speaking of? Which one? VB or VA? I need some answers at least. VA. So VA has got the highest chances of thrombosis in the circuit because the flows. Once you start, the duration of the run is very less. The flow requirements in VA Ecmo is less. So while you are tampering that, the chances of getting clots is very less, which is evident in this publication. Sorry for the resolution here. So almost VA Ecmo comes with a thrombosis of around 14%, and VB Ecmo comes to thrombosis chances of 5%. Now, if you go and detailedly divide the chances of thrombosis to individual components, okay, so 27% of all these things warrants the change of circuit or the components. So in the individual components, the most common being the oxygenator. So 40% of times your oxygenator warrants you to change it completely. So that's the reason why we are going to change the circuit of that. So that's the oxygenator thrombus that warrants mainly. So one more important thing is sepsis. So when you don't know the reason for sepsis, and you don't know what is happening to the patient is not improving. The common ideology is go and change the circuit might be the, what do you say, it's hosting all the the bacteria and all, you can decrease the load. But actually speaking, if you change the circuit, will your sepsis come down? Because it's a bloodline sepsis, right? So it's a bloodline sepsis. Once you go and change the circuit, your burden of infection might come down. It does not warranty you completely sepsis free. Okay, your burden of infections might, the bacterial load might come down because oxygen harbors a lot of bacteria in that. So that's an infection that leads to formation of clots. That clots will harbor most of the bacteria that leads to again sepsis. So just having a clock in an oxygenator, an unknown source for sepsis, just don't blame the oxygenator for that. Okay, it might be some other source, or it might be a handling team, it might be a nursing team, or maybe you. Sometimes most of the doctors do not have the hand hygiene practices bedside. That might be you that's causing those things. So make sure you avoid all those things with the so changing the circuit in this particular scenario is not going to help you much. Yes, it might buy you some time, it might decrease you the bacterial load, and then meanwhile you can act accordingly with your antibiotics, and at least 4 to 5 antibiotics goes into the body, the patient might get stabilized. So it's like a what do you say, a phenomenon where you think that changing the circuit is going to help in the cause of sepsis. So it's like taking a careful into your platelets. That's it. So changing the circuit is not going to prevent this complication. It might delay it. Next, so what happens if they change the Ecmo circuit on a pressure to the patient? So in my patient, as you already see, like when we give you a VA, so any new circuit that comes in contact with the body that leads to systemic activation of the contact factors, systemic activation of the complements, glucoside additions, drop of platelets, all these particularly again leads to a surge response. So once leading to a surge response, again that damages your lungs with the leukocyte infiltrations, and the incidence of this being happening is more than 30% as per the statistics. So it's directly, again, the sex response is proportional to the length of the circuit. It's the area that you're going to expose the patient, right? So more the area, more the chances of getting a sex response here. So instead of changing the circuit, no, the circuit comes with a lot of area in that. So changing the circuit will cause a severe sex response to my patient. So causing the severe sex response will in turn delay the recovery of the patient. Okay, so that is also an added burden. Apart from the finances, that's also an added burden for that. So only not only the surge response, this leads to a consumption of so many factors that leads to a drop in hemoglobin, that leads to a drop of your all blood components. You need to transfuse them again. That's a collateral damage again. That's an again a burden to the patient. So you need to give a lot of transfusions while you're going to change the circuit. That transfusions are not very safe. Those come with their own complications. Okay? And then there will be always a with this surge response, there is always a third space loss. You need to give more fluids to stabilize the hemodynamics, and the patient might go to coagulopathy again. So you need to adjust your heparin dosages again. Once you come to a new circuit, the heparin dosage is not going to be the same. You need to adjust according to your ACT levels. So that is the medical point of view if you are going to change the circuit. Let us see the technical point of view by changing the circuit and components. So how many clamps are required if you go for the logistics? Both are 6 clamps, right? Anyone wants to disagree with me? So both require 6 clamps. So plates and scissors are the same. Maybe while you're changing the components, you might require some connectors more, right? That's the only thing extra here. And timing. So if you have a good team trained with you, if you want to compare, you have to compare crocodile with a crocodile. You cannot compare a crocodile with a fish, right? When you're comparing two equal opponents, the change of circuit change and components is almost the same. The time taken for changing is almost the same, and the equipment and the logistics is almost the same. So what bothers me here in the whole technical issue is the availability of the individual components. That bothers me, right? So I can get circuit easily, I can get the connectors easily. The remaining things can also be easily attainable. But only thing that bothers me is the availability of your oxygenator, the availability of a separate pump, because there are some machines which does not provide a separate pump for you, right? So that thing bothers me when I'm going to decide between the circuit change and component change, provided if this is removed from my equation, definitely this changing of components will be much more beneficial if you ask me. So patient challenges I already discussed in my previous this thing. The search response is higher with the circuit change. It is little bit lesser. I'm not saying it will not be there, it will be lesser. The hemodylation is more in the circuit change. The hemodylation is less in the component change. Recovery, yes, the recovery might be delayed if you're going to change the circuit. The recovery might be delayed or it might be a status quo. When it comes to sepsis, it's not going to give me any added advantage. So these are my different challenges when it comes to the patient. And finally, so apart from all the availability of the remaining things, components and everything, I not let my mistakes, my inability to maintain the ACTs, or my nursing team causing the sepsis, or my what do you think, my small mistakes that should not be affecting the patient's factors, that should not be affecting the patient's finances. Yes. Being in India, I always consider financial is always considered because changing the circuit is not the only thing that comes with some collateral again transmission, such response. delayed recovery, that is a problem like Ecmo, that comes with again infections and all. So all these things should come in mind. The most important thing being in India, I think the finances is also one of the most important decision factors when it comes to circuit change and component change. And coming to my previous speaker scenario, what I was mentioning, no? So there is a change in a PT is not changing, right? So you said some PT is not changing, and the delta pressure is rising. So we don't know that what's happening to this patient. That means that if the delta pressure is rising, invariably P3 should drop. P2 is stable. So it might be a leak in your return cameras, or sometimes most commonly what happens, the arterial lines, the transduce, so they get clotted. So if your P2 urine is clotted and P3 is stable, then you may start seeing changes in the P2. So that arterial clot, which has happened so many of times for us. Because we see everything will be normal, all of a sudden delta pressure will be high, or your P2 might be, the erratic P2s and P3s. But if you go and examine the circuit, the blood will come little bit to 10-15 centimeters back and it gets clotted there. That's not having any heparin there. So that stops your arterial line from monitoring your P2s and P3s. That is one possibility. The other possibility is your height of transducer, which I'm talking of about. So which I do when I'm in anesthesia practice, no, I'll be on the head end. So my surgeon wants, sir, I want the BP of 140, then I'll make that transducer. Sir, I want my BP 90. Okay. So before my drug takes the action, I'll take all this action. So you have to check the transducer leveling also. It should be at the same level once you start Ecmo or once you go to monitor. That might be the possibilities of first scenario, sir, but if you don't have all these things, yes. And then another scenario, as I mentioned, your delta P is normal, but the hemolysis is happening. This is the most common scenario that happens here. So it's like easy for all of us to blame the circuit because that looks very obvious on the bedside of the patient. But you are forgetting that this circuit is helping the patient. The circuit is not a separate part, right? So the most common scenario which we generally see is infection causing TTP. Okay, so sepsis, severe sepsis leads to TTP causing hemolysis, even though there is no circuit changes or delta pressure changes. Even that scenario also we changes the circuit. That helped us to buy us some time because the load has decreased. Okay, but in TTP you cannot do much other than changing circuit and then doing some plasma exchanges and all. So two patients we did a plasma exchange. One patient we changed the circuit. Yes. So those are our things. So coming to conclude that yeah, this medicine is moving towards the targeted therapies, right? We are moving targeted to the minute levels and all. So one solution will not fit to anything else. So you should be targeting the problem where it is happening, where it's happening in a particular part, and then try to address that problem rather than doing a blanket cover for all of the problems. And thank you so much for the
Thank you, Dr. Rakesh. And if Ms. Deblal has anything to rebut, we'll give you 30 seconds.
One question. Sir told me if you change the whole component, so start effect will be late. But a new circuit, we are not changing the reducing the circuit. We are just replacing the circuit. We are not reducing the circuit for the component. We are replacing the circuit. Whatever circuit was there, we have replaced that one.
The success response is depends upon the what is it, the freshness of the circuit. The more the newer circuit, the mean it's like a what do you say, coming from out of. So whenever there is a new circuit, the chance of success response is high. It doesn't mean that once the patient is exposed to the circuit, keeping a new circuit will cause less success response. So whenever some new thing comes to blood contact, that means that again you have higher cells response. In fact, it might be like your immune mediated reactions. For the second exposure, it might be very high. You're not very sure of it, right? So once you expose an antigen and antibody reaction, for the second exposure, the reaction will be very fatal also. That also should be considered. So for that question, I say that having a circuit in place does not guarantee us that a new circuit will have less chance of success.
Okay, thank you, sir. But during component change, you will not get a proper coated circuit. Whatever it is providing albumin coating, different coating, or different only different coating circuit separately is not available in the market. Whatever I know.
Yes, it's not available. Even though we are changing pipe connecting the tubing or you're changing the pump, you're not getting an albumin coated or heparin coated one. Sometimes you're getting heparin coated, but considering the length of that particular part, it is very much less when it is compared to the whole circuit. Right? If you take the whole circuit length, which is of 2 meters, many pump will get hardly along with the connectors and everything, hardly 2 feet. And then my oxygen will be 2 feet long. So I'll take a precaution in that case. The ACT reserves my drop. I'll try to infuse some more heparin to the patient. So heparin costs me hardly 5 rupees or 10 rupees depending upon.
Thank you very much, Deblal and Rakesh, for a good profound debate. I would like to call Dr. Srishti Jain and Dr. Alavi back to the dais so that if there's any questions in their morning or their morning talks.
Someone is asking, sir, please.
I want to make a comment on component change versus full circuit change. Actually, it should be evidence based, not a means individual decision of component change versus circuit change. So rather thinking of financial burden because ICMO itself is a costly affair. So changing the component and keeping the patient in a worst scenario is to let's take for a new circuit and do better for the patient outcome.
So what
That's
is,
what makes evidence if evidence supports it.
no, I'm just asking, sir, what do you prefer now, circuit or coil?
That's what I am emphasizing. Means
It doesn't matter.
we should look for the evidence and research or look for the experience teams.
So that's why I projected the financial implications at the last. That should be my last decision making thing. It might be important, but that should be my last. And considering all the statistics and the logistics here, so changing the circuit, the incidence of changing the circuit is hardly 11%. The trolleys are 11 or 12% circuit thrombosis. Right, instance of having, and in that the most common is being the oxygenator.
I have seen the situations when we have changed the component means oscillator. Again, that we put the new circuit and hold the circuit block.
Yes, sir,
So
exactly.
that is
Might happen to
better
anything. Yeah, yeah.
one tool.
The what you said is true. It might not be one thing to decide it. So many factors that come into play till you come to a particular conclusion.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
financial burden should not be means the decision making.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think he was quite clear. He didn't say finance is the only decision. He said that is the last part. So obviously, if you look at the evidence, I think there is nothing to favor one versus the other. So probably you have to individualize it based on various
Yeah,
other
now most of the
factors.
family
Yeah.
don't feel to pay extra or whatever amount the hospital charges. Now the affordability is no more a concern. So far,
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, sure. Thank you very much.
Any other questions for the other speaker?
Just one comment. Just wanted to like, I think the concern.
Who's the question to?
Yeah.
So, I think all of them.
No.
We talk about circuit change and component change. Just wanted to make on the usually for circuit we have a prime circuit prepared. So any emergencies we are prepared to take an early change. But when you are going to component change, our worry is the time required. So would you consider as a plan for our in our scenario having a prime oxygen or prime component prepared? That we will go.
If one of you can take that question. Briefly.
Actually, in either way, we are not keeping any prime circuit or prime component also. During the situation, we can if the expert is available in the institute, they can able to handle the situation. They will get more time than field. If we change the circuit, we have to clean the field or this thing. If it is not accidental, we should not pre-prime circuit should not use for the patient.
But the guidelines we need to have. I know we in our system we have to do the challenge. As per the guidelines, there should always be a prime circuit.
No.
It is a high volume center, better to have private circuit. So it is visited.
Okay. I think
So
If anybody else has
any
questions
questions
to
we can keep the comments for the after hours. But any questions from the audience? Yeah, if there's none, we'll call it. Thank you all for the excellent mind-boggling debate. Thank you.